Hello, happy Saturday. I want to tell you a story. It's about a young married Christian couple with a small child. Well, the husband used to like to go out for a drink after work um, in the tavern. And the wife had no problem with that. She thought, oh, you should have a drink, wind down, come home, be home in time for dinner. But eventually it turned to him uh, staying gone later and later, coming home drunk. It was causing problems in the relationship. Sometimes when he wouldn't come home, she'd go down to the tavern to see if he was there. Sometimes he was, sometimes he wasn't. And sometimes she's seen him talking to other women. She's like, oh, well, they're just talking. But this began to cause problems in the relationship. So she was out shopping one day, and this man at the mall kept in the store kept staring at her, kept watching her. So she says he must be security. So she picks up an item, she takes it to him, and she goes, "Sir, can you tell me how much this is?" And he says, "I don't work here." She goes, "Yes, you do." She said, "You're security." And he started to laugh. He goes, "Oh, is it that obvious?" And she was like, "Yeah, I seen you watching me." He said, "Well, I wasn't watching you for that reason." He said, "I was just admiring your beauty." So they talked for a while and they exchanged numbers. Well, this man uh, starts to fill in that time when her husband's away. So they talk. Later on, they end up, maybe meeting for lunch or a walk on the river. Nothing big or mostly innocent, but it's just someone to take up time with, talk to. Her husband wasn't around. So eventually she stops looking for her husband and she's putting all her energy into the sky. So the relationship progresses and she's going to meet him for sex. And she comes out of her subdivision, and there's a black cat that runs out right in front of her. And she's like, "Get out of here, cat. Get out of here, cat." She's rebuking this cat. She can't stand cats, black cats. She thinks they're just evil, bad creatures. And this cat is right in front of her car, and she's blowing her horn. "Get out of here, cat. Go away. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus." So the cat moves and she goes on. Well, she gets to the daycare, and the daycare provider tells her she can't keep the baby because she said, "You normally don't come on Tuesday." She says, "I watch other children. I can't watch the baby today." So she has to tell this guy that she can't meet him because she doesn't have a babysitter. So the next time she's going to meet him, she's coming out of her subdivision and she starts digging around in her purse for something. Well, she runs off the side of the road and she hits a drainage pipe ditch. And the next thing you know, there's a EMT saying, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And she's like, "What happened?" He said, "Well, you ran off the road and you hit this drainage ditch." Well, the airbags had popped out of her car and hit her and knocked her out. She's like, "Where's my baby? Where's my baby?" "Your baby's fine, ma'am. Your baby's right here." And he goes, "Are you okay?" And she said, "Well, I think so." He says, "Well, ma'am, since you got knocked out, I think you might need to go to the hospital and get checked out." She's like, "No, no, I'm fine. I'm fine." but they encourage her to go to the hospital anyway. So they take her and the baby to the hospital. She calls her husband, tells her husband, honey, we're fine. They, had a wreck. The airbags deployed, and they want me to go get checked out. And she calls this guy too and lets him know I can't make it. I had a wreck. So this guy shows up at the emergency room to check on her, and she's fine and everything. He said, every time we get ready to meet, he said, something happens. And she said, yeah, I know. She said, maybe it's just not a good idea for us to see each other anymore. So they were in agreement on that, and he left. So I just want to let you know that the black cat that she couldn't stand was a warning. That cat was trying to tell her, don't do that. Don't go that way. But she wasn't listening. Satan, he tempts us, and he's seen that opportunity to come to her with temptation of a man, and she fell for it. But God had another plan for her. And so her getting hit in the face with the airbag was like God chastising her, correcting her, because Hebrew 12 verse 6 through 11 talks about who the Lord loveth, he chastens. And so God will chastise his kids when they start to get in trouble. So that was God showing his mercy and trying to get her to stay on the right track. So I hope you enjoyed this story. Take care. Stay blessed.